Your participation in any activity is at your own risk. Any equipment you choose to use to learn, play, or participate in any fencing activity is your choice and responsibility, and you assume your own risk or risk to any participants. The All-American Fencing Academy and/or USA Fencing are not liable or responsible to any injuries or damages that may occur as a result of your participation, to those around you or to any of your surroundings. We emphasize that you always exercise and observe safety by wearing safety goggles if using PEX do-it-yourself fencing weapons, and wear complete fencing safety gear if using standard fencing equipment. Never practice or teach fencing with fencing weapons without both participants wearing a mask, jacket, plastron, and glove. How to teach beginner fencing, Part 4. In this section we'll cover holding the weapon, the salute, and giving a basic lesson with keeping distance, extensions with an advance, and lunge.
Now we're going to cover how to hold your weapon and how to give some basic lessons. Okay, if you are using one of the handmade weapons, remember to wear eye protection. So Gabe and I have eye protection. We bought these at Walmart, so they're just under $5. Simple eye protection will work, right? Or sunglasses. To hold the weapon, you want to pinch the weapon. Most of these pipes will have a small bend in it. So you want the bend going downwards, not upwards, and definitely not side to side, right? So where the weapon is bending downwards, this is going to be top part of the weapon. To hold the weapon, you want to pinch the weapon, all right? So if you can see the weapon here, my thumb is going to be on top, my pointer will be on the bottom, and I'm going to use the rest of my 3 fingers to stabilize it. So it's held by these 2 fingers. You're pinching the weapon close to the guard and using the back 3 fingers to stabilize it. So you will always hold it with a thumb up, all right? We're going to take that thumb, we're going to also rotate it about 45 degrees. So if you look at it from this point of view, if we're holding it like this, rest of the 3 fingers stabilizes, and then we're going to rotate it about 45 degrees. Not 90 degrees, about 45 degrees. So if you're looking at the weapon from this point of view, it'll be rotated just a little bit. All right. So if you're making using the do-it-yourself weapon, remember, thumb on top, pinch the weapon, pointer on the bottom, 3 fingers. A lot of people tend to what I call T-Rex the weapon. They do that. So we're not pinching with our 2 fingers. We are pinching with our thumb and pointer. All right. If you are using the French grip, it is the same way. This is the top part of the weapon. There's a slight bend in the weapon right there. There's the top part of the weapon. Pointer pinches the weapon. Now if you can see that. The rest of the 3 fingers stabilize. So either the French grip or the handmade weapon, you don't want to hold it like a hammer or like a lightsaber, okay? So you're not going to grip it like that. You're going to pinch it with 2 fingers, the rest of the fingers stabilize. We'll take a look again on the do-it-yourself weapon. Again, pinch, stabilize. You don't want to grip it, okay? Let's take a look with the pistol grip. So you've got this funny looking tooth part at the front, this funny looking bottom part, and the part that attaches to the weapon. That's the part that we're familiar with. We're going to pinch it once again, like this. This sharp, not really sharp, but this tooth looking part will go in between our 2 fingers right here. So it's like you're shaking someone's hand. When you're shaking someone's hand, the other person's thumb goes right between the web of your thumb and pointer. So this is the other person's thumb. You're shaking their hand and you're pinching the grip. The rest of the 3 fingers will stabilize in front of the bottom part. So if you're looking at it from this side, 2 fingers will pinch, rest of the 3 fingers will stabilize. This is between your thumb and pointer finger right there at the web, and that one is behind your 3 fingers. Okay, so that's how to hold a pistol grip. If you have a little bit of trouble with the pistol grip and holding the weapon, give us a call, 910-644-0137. Text us definitely, or email us at info@allamericanfencing.com. So let's go to the do-it-yourself weapon. We have to learn how to salute. To salute, first with the do-it-yourself weapons, you're going to hold the weapon correctly, thumb on top, pointer on the bottom. You're going to stand in basic position. Good. You're going to let the weapon rest on the ground, not poking the ground, resting on the ground. To salute, you're going to point above the coach or the student, above their head, arms straight. Next part of the salute, you're going to bring it to yourself. Good. Now you're going to go down and out, away from the body. That's a part of the salute. So once again, let the weapon rest, up, above their head, to themselves, down and away from the body. So if you watch Isabel and I, she's going to move back just a tad bit, right there. Good. To salute when we're facing each other, a salute always happens at the beginning of a lesson and the end of the lesson. Points above my head, brings it to yourself, and down and out. Now let's do it with a weapon and a mask in our hand. So if you've got a weapon and mask in your hand, the mask will be held by the opposite hand. You go to basic position. Remember, let the weapon rest on the ground. Point it above the opponent or the teacher or the student. Bring it to yourself, down and out away from the body. So we're facing our partner. Salute to yourself, down and out away from the body. Okay? So that's how to salute. We're going to do a quick review here. Standing on guard, Gabe. So if you remember some things here, there is this line down the middle. Everything on this side is the 4, and everything on this side is the 6 line. Now you can also visualize it with the weapon. So on the weapon, so here's the weapon. Everything on this side of the weapon is the 4 side of the weapon. Everything on this side of the weapon is a 6 side of the weapon. I'm going to use a terminology that we haven't used before. It's a beat. So a beat, if I were to tap his weapon on this side, that is a 4 beat. If I tap his weapon on the 6 side, that's a 6 beat. So things moving to that side of the direction is a 6. Everything on this side of the weapon is a 4. Now the direction will change if he happen to be left-handed. So if he switches off to his left hand, so now everything on this side towards the inside of the body is his 4 side of the weapon. Everything's toward the outside of the body or on this side of the this side of the weapon is a 6 side. All right. So let's go back to right-handed. Once again, 4 side of the weapon, 6 side of the weapon. Let's start with a basic lesson. First one is keeping distance, learning to move with the coach and the student keeping up with the coach. All right, so he's going to stand on guard. Things that he needs to remember. He needs to not take huge steps forward. So the idea is for us to remain the same distance apart. So on guard, I'm going to take my weapon, not on the 4 side, the 6 side of the weapon. I'm going to engage this weapon on the 6 side. We're going to engage at the top third of the weapon. So right about there. Some there, so probably a little bit too close. Definitely a little bit too close. Coach, you don't have to necessarily stand in on guard, but if you can, please do so. All right. So notice I'm just standing still. He has to keep distance with me. So if I were to take a step forward, he's going to take a step back. So our distance remains the same. If I were to take a step back, he takes a step forward. If you've got space in your house, you can take a few more steps. So I'll go back, forward, forward, back. Now the key here is knowing which direction that you want to go. You want to know ahead of time before you start to move, because you don't want to confuse your student. So if I were to do something like, I'm going to take a step back, he started to take a step backward himself because it looked like I was going forward. So don't try to trick them. So once again, you don't have to go fast either. Go slow. You can start off by telling them which way you're going to go. I'm going to take a step back. Step back. I'm taking a step forward. I'm taking a step forward. And then you can remove the audio cues and just let them move with you. Things to watch out for: make sure they're still on guard. Their knees are bent. They're not getting too far from you. So let's do some bad examples. If I were to take a step back and he'd take a huge step forward, now he's way too close. And notice the distance on our weapons has gotten closer. We're now engaged in the middle of the weapon. Ready? We'll reset the distance. If you find it took a big step back or a big step forward, go ahead and stop right there and ask him to reset the distance. Same thing, if he were to take let's move forward a little bit. If he were to take a big step back, good. Now we're almost point to point. All right. Other things to watch out for is making sure that their arm doesn't change position. I'll demonstrate this. Sometimes as they move, their arm comes up here, or their arm comes up here, or they start to drop their weapon. The idea is to keep them engaged in 6. So your job, coach, is to keep it there. So if you start pushing, they're going to move to a 4 position. You might still be engaged in 6, but you're going to move to a 4 position. Keep them with their hand open. So if you're looking at them, they should always be in this position and not here. Not for this drill. So one more time, keeping distance. Try to remain in engagement. About 1 Mississippi between each step. Good. Now we're going to cover extensions. Once again, don't forget eye protection. On guard. The first attack that we're going to do is the extension. They don't have to go anywhere. You're going to do most of the work for them. Things to remember. This on guard position, you're going to have a big letter V here. All right? So things that our fencers tend to hold the weapon, they might bring that hand up. So now you have this angle here. We don't want that. We want a generally straight line from the blade down to their forearm. From there, it angles up to his arm. All right? So you want that big letter V. Other things that people tend to do, they have it too far down. We don't want it too far down. We also don't want it too high up. Big letter V. Now, we're going to work on an extension. We've seen it before. He extends. You want to make sure they're already pointing to target. The hand is slightly above the shoulder. Arm is fully extended. Good. So now that he's on target, he doesn't have to go anywhere. He doesn't have to lean. I'll do the work for him. I'm going to take a step forward. He's going to keep his arm straight. The weapon is going to bend upwards, not sideways, and definitely not downwards. So part of the things that he has to remember is let the arm come up a little bit. Go straighten out your weapon again. Ready? Extend. He hits. Now, what you're doing, coach, is you're engaging the weapon, and then you're going to remove it from his blade. When he removes it, when you remove it from his blade, he's going to extend. He's going to stay there. I'll take a step forward and hit. So make sure you're not already close enough where he's there. That's fine. But for this exercise, we'll let him extend first and go. The next step you want to do, instead of letting him extend first, waiting for him to be there and then going, you can do everything at the same time. As you release the weapon, go ahead and take a step forward. He has to be able to extend and hit you while you're going forward. General aim, you want to aim for the center of the chest. So when he extends, he wants to make sure that the point doesn't go down. Good, just like that. And notice his hand stays up. Good. Things to watch out for when on the extension. As they hit, sometimes what fencers do is as it hits, they'll jerk back the arm. They don't want that arm, or they're afraid that the person's going to get hurt. you want to make sure that the arm stays straight. So if you watch Gabe, on this one will be incorrect. He extends, and as it hits, he's going to jerk that arm back. That arm doesn't stay straight. He wants to keep that arm straight. All right, this might be a little bit difficult for smaller kids, especially if their arm strength is just starting to learn how far they can be out there. So they have to be able to keep that arm out there. All right. Other things to look out for: not extending all the way. So they're not extending all the way. You want them to extend all the way, already pointing to target. Arm stays out there. Okay. Now we're going to cover an extension with an advance. On guard. So remember that good arm position? Good. So that straight line from the blade to the elbow, and then the arm angles up. Good. So the first time I took a step forward, he's just extending. I take a step forward. Body stays still. You don't want to lean forward or lean back. Now we're going to do it with just an advance. To set up the distance, first we're going to set up that extension distance. That's that extension distance, all right? I'm going to take a step back, so he's outside of extension distance. Recover. He's back to on guard in 6. He's going to, I'll give him the cue first. He extends, now he's on target. He's going to take that advance forward. He hits on target. He's not leaning forward, and he's moved both feet, just like we're doing on the advance. To get back, recover the arm. He's off. He takes a retreat, and make sure you re-engage back at 6. I'm going to have him bend the weapon again. Once again, we're engaged at 6. I remove my blade. He extends. He's already pointing target. He advances. He hits. The arm is still straight. Feet are apart, shoulder width apart. His knees are still bent. Relax the weapon, or recover the weapon, and retreat. I'll give him one more. Extend, advance, good. Recover the weapon, retreat. So that's the extend and advance. Now the lunge. On guard. So this is our extension distance. Slight bend of the weapon. You don't want to be too close, definitely. So slight bend of the weapon. Our extension with an advanced distance, and depending on how far your fencer can lunge, this might be just the right distance, or you can go a little bit further, all right? Gabe can lunge pretty far. Ready? He's not going to go super fast here, and your fencer doesn't have to go super fast, so we'll go step at a time. We're engaged in 6, not on the 4 side of the weapon, on the 6 side of the weapon, the one on the outside of the body. I'm going to give him the cue by removing the blade. He's going to extend to target. He's on target now. He doesn't have to do anything else. Front toe up, and he's going to lunge forward. He hits on target. Recover the weapon. Good. Now, if we remember how to go back to on guard, back to on guard. Good. Ready? I open up, or I remove the blade. He extends, toe up, lunge. Make sure they stay in their lunge. They're not bouncing back. I want them to be able to keep their balance. Front knee is bent, back leg is straight, both arms are out, hand is slightly above the shoulder, the bend is going upwards. Recover the weapon, back to on guard. I'm going to have him straighten out the weapon again. Extend, toe up, and lunge. Recover, back to on guard. Ready? Now he'll do it on his own, not super fast. Good. Back to on guard. One more time. Back to on guard. Good. So, practice those lunges about 10 times each. Make sure they hold that lunge for a brief second, then they can recover from it.
Review. Terminology to know and use. Salute. Engagement. Engagement in 6 and 4. Keeping distance. Practice. Remember to salute at the start of the class and at the end of the class. Be mindful of how they are holding the weapon and where. Staying and returning to 6 position. keeping distance for 10 advances or retreats, 10 extensions, 10 extend advances, and 10 lunges to hit the coach or target in a consistent location.